So let's talk about this matchup between the Pistons and the Cavaliers. And this could be our second round preview if the standings hold up. Right now, Cleveland is fourth in the Eastern Conference. They are a game and a half behind the Knicks for third, 3 games behind Boston. They still have a chance to be second. There's no doubt about it. But I hope that Cleveland ends in fourth so we can see this matchup in the second round because I would pick the Cavaliers to beat Detroit. Not because the Pistons are a bad team or they're overrated. There's a couple weaknesses that I noticed. I watched the last 5 minutes of the game. I understand that Donovan Mitchell didn't play in this game. Jared Allen left in the third quarter with a knee injury. We'll see how that holds up, and hopefully he's okay. They also didn't have Wade in this game for Cleveland. And you look at the Pistons roster, they're very good defensively. They're going to kill you on the glass. They were +6 in rebounding last night. And those last 5 minutes are very telling because what I noticed on Detroit's side when they had a lineup of Cade, Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duran, there was some lack of spacing out there. So what Cleveland did was they made sure they were guarding Robinson and Harris, and they left Asar Thompson on an island by himself. They understand he's not a good three-point shooter. So in the playoffs, you're going to see schemes rolled out against Detroit where they're going to dare Thompson to knock down some shots. They're leaving by himself and say, hey, you got to beat us. And if you're Asar Thompson, you got to be ready for those moments. So if you can't knock down an open shot from three, then you got to put the ball on the floor and put pressure on the defense to make a decision what they should do if you're driving to the rim. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. On Cleveland side of things, they do pose a threat with their dribble penetration with James Harden, his playmaking. You got knockdown shooters. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell, when he's back, he can create off the dribble. And you've got Mero and these other guys who can knock down the three. So that's going to be very interesting to see. With the Pistons, when they traded Jaden Ivey, I think one of the reasons why they moved off of him is because he's a restricted free agent. So I believe the organization felt that somebody in the offseason was going to scoop him up, make a better offer, and Detroit couldn't match that offer. So they decided to part ways. That's a tough loss because Detroit does lack shot creation. They're going to rely heavily on Cade Cunningham to create everything for Detroit. And that could wear him out because if he's playmaking, if he's trying to get his teammates open all the time on every single possession, that could drain him in a playoff series. Now, 4 of 16, I think that's an anomaly. I don't think Cade's going to play that bad. But there could be stretches, and we've seen it where this offense just goes through slumps. Now, defensively, Detroit is a problem. They can just wear you out physically. We saw in the last stretches of that game, there's a minute left where Asar Thompson forced a turnover and got an easy dunk. And his perimeter defense could be a major factor to offset some of the offensive problems Detroit has because they do a great job of turning you over. And if they're forcing 12 or more turnovers against Cleveland, and that's a strong possibility, then they could definitely win the series. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Cleveland's going to win. I'm just going to pick them in a 7-game series. I think it will go 7, and Cleveland will find a way. But this matchup will be fun to watch. And you look at yesterday, it's just very telling of where the teams are. Cleveland's playing great basketball, so is Detroit. But the Cavs present some problems, and you bring back Donovan Mitchell. I don't think he played in either games, if I'm not mistaken. So if he's back in the lineup, he's another guy you got to worry about. So for the Detroit Pistons, when you're trying to guard Cleveland and they're beating your perimeter defenders off the dribble, well, that puts pressure on Thompson, Duran to either play help defense and leave guys open, whether it's in the paint or from three. And that just creates a lot of problems for the Pistons defense. Now, the physicality, they could impose their will. They're really good at that, where they have a bunch of size and they can bother those smaller guards like your Donovan Mitchells of the world, or Sam Merrills, and they can impose their will with their physicality. And we know in the playoffs, the foul calling isn't as crazy as you see in the regular season. So they're going to let players get physical, and that's going to be interesting. So if the Cavs can handle the physicality of Detroit, then the Cavs are going to win that series. If Detroit can force Cleveland into 12 or more turnovers, then Detroit's going to win the series. And if Detroit can get enough offense from a guy like Thompson, where he can play make, he can force turnovers. 6 assists is a good number for him. If he can do that in the playoffs and create opportunities for other guys, then Detroit will be just fine. Will it be easy? No, because you want more shot creators out there just to put pressure on the defense. They can get to the rim. They can play make. Putting that all on Cade Cunningham can be challenging at times. So I'm very fascinated by this matchup, especially both teams offer different challenges and problems for the defense. And for Cleveland, they're playing with house money. They got the experience on their side too. They've been to playoffs multiple times. This is Detroit's first real time where there's expectations on them. And can a young basketball team handle that pressure? Most of the time, when you get to that stage, you lose in your first go around. You go through the playoff heartbreak. Sometimes it takes two or more times before you get over the hump. We've seen this with the Denver Nuggets, the Boston Celtics, and we saw with OKC. So there is a possibility where Detroit does lose in the second round against Cleveland. And I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen. This is going to be a fun playoff matchup if the standings hold serve. And I'm really excited for it. So we shall see how it all plays out. I want to hear your thoughts about the Cavs and Pistons. What do you expect if they both meet up in the second round of the playoffs? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.